Hello and welcome to Moments in History. I'm Linda Shenton Matchett, author, speaker, and history geek. During my research, I often unearth intriguing and little-known facts about World War II that I love to share. So I'm going to be doing that momentarily, but as I indicated, research is my absolute favorite thing to do, and today's book mail was very exciting. I got two pieces that I have been waiting for in order to work on my next work in progress. I have Feisty Lydia, which is Memoirs of a German War Bride, and German Voices, which is about a young man who was born here in the United States and then to German parents, and then they moved back to Germany and he was there during the war. And so, as he says, it is memoirs of life during Hitler's Third Reich. So I'm very excited about these, and you'll be hearing more about what I learn in the coming weeks. So now we are going to talk about the dark side of rationing. Restrictions on imported foods, limitations on the transportation of goods due to the shortage of fuel and rubber for tires, and the diversion of agricultural harvests to feed the troops, as well as sending them overseas to our allies, were all behind the government's reasoning for doing rationing. And they chose essential items that people use every day in large quantities to ensure that everybody had what they needed. So there were four kinds of rationing. We had uniform coupon rationing, and basically that is equal shares of a single commodity to all consumers. So for example, everyone got the same amount of sugar each week. Then there is point rationing, and that is equivalent shares of commodities by coupons, which could be spent for any combination of items, such as processed foods, meats, fats, cheeses. And then there is differentiated coupon rationing, which provides shares of a single product according to the needs, such as gasoline, fuel oil. So for example, an A sticker, as far as rationing for gasoline, was given to the general public, and it entitled the holder to 4 gallons per week. Whereas a B sticker was given to business owners, and they were allowed to have 8 gallons of wheat. There was a T card that was available for truckers. There was an X for professionals such as firefighters, clergymen, and the like. And then last, there was certificate rationing, whereas the individual would get to purchase a particular product only after application demonstrated a need. For example, tires, cars, stoves, typewriters. So a need had to be determined in order for the individual to be approved to purchase that particular item. So here's how the system worked. The OPA, Office of Price Administration, determined the number of points needed for goods based on availability and demand. The points could be raised or lowered accordingly. And then information regarding these values, usage dates, which coupons could be substituted, and all of the minutia that was associated with the program was then printed in the newspapers each week. So it was up to the housewife to master this rationing system of a constantly changing system of point values in the papers while shopping, meaning she had to keep one eye peeled on the monetary price as well as the other on the little red numbers that indicated how many points were required to purchase that particular item. So she basically was doing double budgeting, money and points. And then she also had to keep track of which particular stamps were valid during a certain time period, which, when they were outdated, they were no longer able to be used. So the serious side effects of rationing was the black market, where people could buy rationed items on the sly but at higher prices. The practice provoked mixed reactions for those who banded together to conserve as instructed, as opposed to those who did go to the black market and purchase items under the counter, if you will. So for the most part, black marketeers dealt with meat, sugar, and gasoline, but there were certainly other items as supply and demand ebbed and flowed. Now remember, Prohibition had not been over even 10 years when the war started. So there were lots of folks who were willing and able to go back to moving illicit goods and making a huge profit at it. If you think about it, they were pre-trained. Secretary of Agriculture Claude Wickard expressed concern about foodleggers, who are graduates of the Prohibition era. And I think he had every right to be concerned. As with food, there was a black market for oil and gas. And in fact, in Philadelphia, the wife of a city policeman was arrested after being accused of selling gas rationing books that had an alleged value of 300,000 gallons. While serving the warrant, officials from the OPA and the U.S. Marshals claimed that they saw an envelope fall from the second floor of the house and found the books inside. The transportation sector appeared to have one of the largest black markets, with another coming to light in the form of a tire market, which had been thrust to the forefront due to the rubber shortage. In Philadelphia, again, a federal grand jury had to decide whether to indict 100 people for being part of a tire ring. Between February 11, 1941 and May 31, 1947, the OPA instituted 259,966 sanctions of various sorts. They claimed that 1 in 15 businesses, wholesale, retail, service, and so on, was charged with illicit transactions. And 1 in 5 of all establishments in the country received some kind of warning short of criminal prosecution. Of course, many of the violations escaped notice, even though the OPA Enforcement Corps included at various times anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 investigators, working under 500 to 1,000 attorneys and many, many thousands of part-time volunteers. In one reference, the OPA estimated the black market purchases in 1943 alone were over $1 billion. Historian Jeffrey Parent stated that somewhere between 25 and 50% of all American businesses were estimated to be in the black market, and the higher figure is probably more accurate than the lower figure. In 1944, OPA investigations of several thousand businesses revealed that not less than 57% were violating price controls. In some areas, the figure soared to over 70%. Then there was Mark Miller, who drove in 1943 from Brownsville, Texas, to International Falls, Minnesota, without a single gas coupon. He managed to get 123 gallons of gas anyway, and illegal coupons for 190 gallons more. Foolishly, he published the tale in Collier's, which resulted in the OPA revoking his 1944 ration book. I'm not sure what impact that would have had. After all, he proved he didn't really need the coupons to get where he was going. Thanks for stopping by Moments in History. If you have any stories you'd like to share about rationing, put them in the comments section below the audio, and of course, keep it clean. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you'll never miss another one. You can find me across social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time on Moments in History.